In this video, I will show you how to put together this Santa Pants box, which is a SVG file from Simply Crafty SVGs. So this is a design that I just recently made improvements to. It's the Santa Pants box. So if you did purchase this before today, which is the date of, I have to look really quick, October 24th, not 2023, make sure you go into your account at simplycraftysvgs.com and download the most recent one. So because the old instructions, the video, I removed it. I've tried to notify everybody that I could with an email, but if you happen to not get the email because you changed emails or something, anyways, if you keep it updated on the website, I'll notify you when a major change. And this had some enough changes to it that it requires a new video, so the old video doesn't work. And the point was to make it easier than the original. So here are all the pieces. So you have the white fur pieces for the bottom. So we'll just go over the piece real quick. The black belt pieces are the same. There's two of the same because it's just double-sided on each side. These, I already started curling those. Those are the suspenders, or yeah, you can call them suspenders. So put that aside. We have these panels will be for the legs, the bottom of each pant leg. And then we have the buckle. And we have cut out, let me show you, 4 of these, which are the buttons that are cut out. Or you can use real buttons. So I'm going to use real buttons on the final one, but you do have, we'll talk about that when we get to that part. And then now we have the pieces to put the box together, or they have score lines in them and numbering on it. And these are panels. So we'll go over that when we get to that point, but these are the panels to put on the box after we put the box together. And these two go inside the box. And I'll explain that. It's just optional. So let's start with these. So these are the box pieces, and you'll notice if you see down here, it should be cut out. I put a pen mark in it. So this is 1, this is 2 on the tab. So you want to make sure you can see these. Put them in order. If you have to put them in pen, do that. So we have 3. Let's see if you can see it. You should be able to see the cut line. You can see the 3 there, but it'll go all the way up to 11 for these larger pieces. So if you need to, you're not going to see those cut marks, so you can go ahead and just go and just outline it with the pen if you want. Just put them in the order though. Make sure they're in the order. And then we also have these little ones that have 12, 13. The 12 has a little cut mark here, so I indicated that. 14 and 15 has a little cut mark there, and I'll explain that in 15. So it does help to number them with like a pen or pencil so you can see them better while you're working with it. So the first thing I'd say is to go ahead and fold all these. So if you could do a natural mountain fold like that, make sure they're good and crisp. If you have something like, I do suggest for this one, you would use the perforated lines. But if you are using solid score lines with the Cricut score tool or score wheel, you'd want like a bone folder to make sure it's nice and crisp. I cut my score lines a little bit with the StarCraft Solo. And these will be slight valley folds. So you can just kind of fold them back to get them to start, and they'll be like that as they go down. So the second one, doing a little bit quicker. Again, I have a Kiss Cut score, so mine folds easily. It's not a Cricut score wheel. And then I just kind of fold them like this to get them ready. And just keep them in order. That's the thing. If you do all this, just go ahead and put them back in the order. So let me go and finish. Oh, before I do that, oops. Let me go and see. I think it's the same thing for these parts right here. This one, when it comes to this one, you're going to want to go to fold like this, and you'll see a little mark there. I'm not going to mark it. I wouldn't mark that one with a pen, but there's a little mark there, and we'll go back to that. Let's see if I can get it. So I'll explain that when we get to that part. But you want to go ahead and score this. The pieces that look like this and the one that's alternate, the other side of this, you just want to score it just like we did, or not score, fold it, just like the single pieces. So it just helps it a little bit more bendable. And I'm going to kind of fold it. On yours you'll have a little score line there, so you want to score it. So I'm gonna actually put that in there really quick, and then I'll show you. I'll start to put them together, so you'll see this when we get to that part. So now I have them all pre-folded, so you can see they're just kind of curved a little bit back like that. So the reason I redid this is file. So there are pieces. There's a part that's hard, generally on it, which is the area in between the legs. So I was trying to redo this one to make it fit together a little bit better. Since it has a rounded look, it's harder to put together anyways, generally. But I think basically I have it down finally. I took a little iterations and rebuilding it. So I'm going to start with number 1. Make sure you have number 1. Make sure everything is in order, else this is not going to go together well. So we're going to go ahead and add glue to that top, and we're going to anchor it. So we're going to line this edge, these 2 edges up at the top. Put that back to the side here, and I'm using that glitter glue if you're wondering. I'll get a little higher, get better coverage. We are going to cover, if you do have a little glue leakage, it's okay because we have coverage of panels. But I always have a wet, damp paper towel to get the excess. So I'm just lining this edge up, and kind of can feel with my thumb that it's lined up to the fold. And the important part is getting it lined up at the top. So if you wanted to, you could get the excess out that way. And then just make sure it's lined up all the way down. And once you get it anchored, go ahead and do the next one. You could do actually both of them. I'm going to fold that in so it doesn't touch while I'm doing this, the second one. So I'm going to go from top to bottom. So I changed it in my hand, so do it whatever feels comfortable to you. So we're going to start on the second tab going down. And me putting my thumb over there, I can tell that this edge is not like jutting over the fold, the tab fold here. So that's what it looks like in the inside, if you're new to this. And if you are new, I highly suggest that you new to 3D crafting, paper crafting, that there's a bunch of freebies that I have on my website. It's simply crafty.svgs.com, and you can get some techniques in with those. So there's some more 3D than not for the freebies. They're usually quite simple. But it gets you used to our files if you're going to purchase them. And I do have a little bit of glare. Sorry about that, but that doesn't seem to be affecting the video too much. So we're going to continue. It's going to be the same for a couple pieces. They are slightly different. That's why they're numbered. Just trying to get good coverage right there so it doesn't pull apart at the top. So I have number 3. So I always check the number at the bottom before I put it together. So starting at the top is always going to be best because you can make sure it's lined up, because that's the top edge of the box. We don't want it to be all cattywampus. Then we'll continue here. So let me put these next to, so we'll put number 4 on, which is the same as this. And then we're just going to speed through that a little bit. And then we'll go to number 5, which is similar, but we kind of have to stop because it looks different. So for number 5, it's going to be the same going on. So it's not much different. So we're still going to do the same. I have a little allergies today. Weather change. So we're going to line that up. And there is a little angle there, so make sure you see that and line it up appropriately. And this is why pre-folding it is important. It's going to help you when we have these little slight changes. So you can see I'm going to pull that out a little bit to get it to line up. Add glue to these last 3, getting pretty close to that edge of the tab folds. So the rest should be fairly, you just want to go tab by tab starting from where we started at the top. And then just go tab by tab, lining it up. And then this folds down so that's out of our way. So that's going to be between the legs right there. So that's just going to fold up like that. So this is going to go like this. Then that's going to attach like that, but it's going to be folded backwards. So we can put that on first. Let's go ahead and put this on, but let's go ahead and do this long tab. This is where it got kind of complicated when the first version, so trying to fix it. Hopefully I was successful. And I get feedback from those that were having trouble. Sometimes it's not so quick to redesign something. So if somebody's wondering, like, well, I did get some feedback on this. It actually, because I know a lot more than I did before when I was designing, when I actually designed this, there's things I wanted to change that structurally that don't look like much. I had to keep it looking the same, but it really changes just slight enough to be able to put it together a little bit easier. So I'm going to go against the table for this one. Make sure that's good and secure before you do this next step. So I'm going to take this, we're going to put this together. So let's go like here, these go inside. And remember, these have to fold down, so I should have told you to fold those down. So I'm going to gently fold that back. It's a valley fold. Forgot to add those in my notes. I have all these notes that I take before I do a video, and I just forgot about it. So I just wanted to pull it back because it's going to go slightly up. So you want to glue it while it's in, like that. So we'll do the first one. I'm going to do them one at a time, making sure you can see them. So I'm like this. That's the front, and I'm going to put this tab underneath, and I'll show you on the other side. I know I have a little glue leakage. That will show, so you don't want much glue there. The places it won't show are on the front, but the legs on the inside will show, and underneath. So I get that one good and secure right there. And you can see the second one. Make sure it's not blurry or anything. So remember, this is like that one. You can line this up. So I'm in the inside. Here, I'll show you like that. Line it up. And there is a little score in here. I just didn't have it on my piece. I decided after I cut this that I was going to add it. So you want to line up this edge to the inside right there. You see that score? Like that. So that's underneath like that. So for now we're going to continue going around. So we'll go around continuing with we're going to put all the rest of these side pieces in after. But so let me go ahead and I'll put them in order, place 7, 8, 9, 10, and then when we get to 11, I'll talk about that again. Okay, so now we're to this part. We're going to take this, which is number 11 down here. 11. We're going to put it on just like we do the little pieces. And the reason this is a whole versus a part it was because of the piece in the front for the middle underneath the pants. I had to split it up on the front. Remember, either side can be the front or back. It's going to be the same. So whichever one you think is better for the front is which we're going to choose. So it's interchangeable. But I'm calling the other side the front because most likely that's going to be the cleanest. But you never know. So we just continue putting these on, just like we did everything else. Make sure you don't tear any of the existing pieces. You can always, I'm just letting it naturally roll. So one of the things is try to get as accurate as you can here. If it's too much of a gap, some of the panels won't fit right. So hopefully that's not the case, but that's why you want to take your time. Then we can go ahead and add this. I didn't fold that one. I'll do this one like that. And then we'll go ahead and deal with that middle part underneath the inside of the pant legs. Line those up. So I'm just going to reach in and add glue to these. Oops. Fortunately, these will be covered by panels. So I'm going to reach in. If you have like short fingers like me, you may have to kind of scooch it in. Reach in from the bottom, that kind of thing. I'm just getting these just a little closer. These edges closer to the tab fold, so I have a good amount of room for the panels that we put around it. So that's what it looks like in the inside. And we don't have a whole lot of panels to cover it. The only thing I included with the file is we're a little bit, just because of the, whatever, we'll go ahead and, because of dimension, it's hard, it kind of goes out of focus. But anyways, I forgot what I said. So that happens. So we're going to have that. We're going to attach that. And you can see it's just going to go like this. And we're not going to glue it on the inside. We're going to glue it on the outside to make it easier. But to start with, let's go ahead. I'm going to kind of push those. Let's get these little pieces now. So I'm going to kind of put that out of, just so it stops try to focus. I have 12, 13, 14, 15. So you want to put these together. So take the 12. You can see I have a valley fold here. Have this folded. These are the inside of the pant leg. So this is 13. We want to attach that. So make sure you have 12 on the left. If you don't, it'll still work. They're the same size, but I have a little cheater line up there, a cut that I penned. So that'll help us. So this is just the bottom two sections of all the other legs. And then let's put 14 and 15 together. You can see it's just the opposite. It's just lined up. So if you do like this project, I ask if you can give me a like or a thumbs up on the video, and or subscribe to our channel if you have not already done so. And if you hit that little notification bell to the right of subscribe, you'll be notified when we have new videos, new projects, that kind of thing. So now we have 12, we have these two pieces. This piece will go on the left where I started. So this one's going to go right here, like that. And this one's going to go like here. So it's going to go like on the insides of the panels right there. And you can see the numbers will be towards the bottom of the pant leg. And then you'll see on here, if you look carefully, this is 12. It's cut out. And this is 15. So you'll see it. So we know we're going to take 12 and we want to line up the left edge of 12 to the 12 panels. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to start at the bottom this time. I'm going to just anchor that one first. So make sure you have the correct one. So it's not going to be as hard as, oh, before we do anything, let's go ahead and fold these back. Sorry. I'm glad we didn't get that far. So let's go ahead and just take that off for now. I'm going to do a valley fold on these, so you can fold it back and then fold it up. And doing that single-handedly is going to help you for both of these. So you only want to do the valley fold that I just showed you, not in the ones with the numbers, but the ones without numbers. But you can't go flat because there's, it's kind of slightly. So if I did that at the beginning, I didn't think I'd get out through this video unscathed, which is correct. Try to get it. I just missed that little note. Video assemblies, honestly, people ask me questions about putting things together that I've done years ago, and I have to watch the video, so it's just the way it is. I'm going to go ahead and line that up. I'm just going to line it up with it up first so I can get it lined up properly. So I'm trying to get it in that section. I'm really paying attention to these fold lines here. Then we'll do the next tab. So you can reach in or like that. If you need to, you can always reach in here and fold it back and glue the glue on it like that. And then we're going to line that up. And I'm just going to insert, I'm just kind of getting that tab under. If you can see that tab right there. So that top tab I just slid under. So it's right here, right here. Right. I'm trying to hold the other tab. right there. So those tabs are underneath that middle part. Gonna add glue to that tab inside, just the front one, right here. Can you see where my finger is right there? I just added glue to that tab. And then I'm going to do it from this side so you can see it. I'm lining this edge up, and that's where that cut line was on that tab, so you knew that tab went there. So this is one way. I'm going to show you a different way to do it on the other side, where we glue this tab first and then those two tabs. Some people might find that easier, but we want to make sure that this is good and secure before we do that. So you can see it's attached right there. So from the other side, we're doing it, it's just the opposite, but it's the same. So you can start, if you feel it's easier, you might feel it's easier, is to add glue on this little tab that has the cut line on it. And then right here, I'm just going to slide it in here. I'm sliding both of them back there, like that. Make sure you can still see it. So I'm making sure this edge lines up to the inside tab fold, and then apply pressure. So I get it into place and then I'll apply pressure, because I kind of push towards here, this edge to this, and then this edge into the fold, the inside fold. So inside, this is what it looks like so far. See, that's the one I just glued right here. That's the one I glued before. So I did not glue the, I did miss a step, but we can still continue. Now we can glue those two. So if you want to start there, you can. They're just complete opposites. So now I'm going to line this up. And the reason why it's this difficult is really due to the way that I did that. I wanted to look like real pants, so I did a little bit of interesting geometry in there, and it made it a little harder. So now you're not going to be able to see it, but we're going to go ahead and add glue to those last two tabs right here. So I'm trying to show you right here. See if I can fold it back. That tab right here, and the shadows, and that tab right there. So we'll start with this one. Right there. I'm going to fold it under right next to the other one. So I'm lining this edge up to the inside tab fold and gluing the tab underneath that, like that. We'll do the same on the other side. So I'm going slow specifically on this area because it's hard to see. So I just added glue on that little tab right there. I'm going to fold it under and line this to the inside edge of that fold. So I have to kind of maneuver it towards me because I can't possibly do it while I'm on video. So that's the one I'm holding right here. You want to hold it for a while until it's secure. So now it's connected. You see the two inside legs are connected all the way down. We just need to connect it to the back now. So I did this several times trying to make it easier. So you see how it's going to go up like that? Now, when it comes to this side, the easiest thing is going to be the tabs to... I tried to do them on the inside like we did the other ones, but we're going to do them on the outside. So they're going to fold over like this, okay? And the reason we're doing that is because it's just easier. It will hold better because it kind of starts pulling, and we don't want the pull. So I'm going to take these two. I'm going to add glue to these two tabs. Doesn't matter which side you start on, but start on the sides because I want to line them up. So I'm going to line this one up like that. You see it? I'm going to fold this one over. And while I'm folding it over, I'm making sure that this edge of this one is lined up. So making sure you kind of push this at the same time that you're pulling this, and then we can apply pressure. So you can see, and you don't want to do anything else until you know that these are good and secure. Then we're going to do it on the other side. I find if I do these first, they're not as accurate, but it's up to you. It's going to be covered anyways with the panel. So you want to get it as close as possible so those outside panels fit. I'm going to add this one. Add glue to those two. Do the same on the other side. I'm really focusing on getting this edge right here lined up to the inside fold edge, and then applying pressure. And then going to the next one. Making sure I'm kind of pushing this in, and I'm kind of bending that out a little bit too. Get that in the right place right there. And then this kind of bent, you can bend it out to get those to match. So let's just do one. I'll just add glue to both. I was going to do one at a time though. So now you see those two, they have that on it. We're going to push it in, but I'm kind of pulling the, since we want to pull this towards it and get this edge lined up. So when I say this edge, we'll do the other one too. We'll do them both at the same time. This, I'm talking about these edges right here. We want to get those lined up. So this one will take a little bit more time to hold. So it's almost there, but it's okay. There's going to be a slight gap. This is probably the thing that caused more grief on this original design than anything else. Was this. If you don't get it lined up just so, it'll be, so it looks a little wonky, right? It does look a little wonky. On the front, you see how it's kind of curved? It's the kind of the same thing. It's just that it's just the shape of the original box. But I didn't want to change the shape of the box, so I had to work with what I had. So there you have it. And it's a little bit, the reason why we don't have to worry about it too much, let me show you. Because we have this panel that will go over it. So I was showing you that this will just go there, so we'll hide it. So I did emboss this. I forgot to emboss them before. So with the embossing folder, which goes through a manual machine, but we'll end up curling those a little bit. But before we do that, let's go ahead and add these to the bottom of the leg. So when we close up the legs, we're going to add these, but we're not going to close them up yet. We're going to add a little stability for them for when we're putting on the red panels. So how we're going to do that is you want to fold these, pre-fold these, and these are both the same size for either leg. So we're going to go ahead and place them in here. We want to put it on the inside because what it's going to do is going to make it easier for us to put on and keep the shape, and then be able to put that solid piece on later. So I'm just going to take any tab, and you could fold it back if you wanted to. So this is the octagon. So I'm going to glue it. I'm using American Craft textured cardstock, so I'm going to glue the non-textured side to the non-textured. That was a pen. So we're going to glue the non-textured side to the non-textured side. I'm just going to place it in there and just make sure that this edge right here is lined up to the inside tab fold. If you're wondering why that's necessary, I could just have you do this. Let me show you. Place that, but it gets hard to place it, so this just kind of is a good way to create the shape you need so it'll be ready for that. So what I like to do is, oh, here's another thing, another tip. If it doesn't go in really easily like that, then you may have glued these, overlapped them. If you overlapped them, you can just do a little cut in that, and usually that'll help those kind of situations. Then I add glue to the opposite tab. So that one, I'm just going to take the opposite to get it set in place. I'm just reaching in, making sure that I'm pushing this in. And if you hear that, there's thunder, storms coming in. But I still keep on crafting. So I'm going to push that in so you can see that it's not a big deal. I'm going to do the middles of these. And what I'm trying to avoid is to get all wobbly, that kind of thing. So as we go around, and you can reach in like that. It just makes it easier to put the bottom pieces on. I do this technique a lot now, so that one's bowing up a little bit. If you do have that, you can always just cut it a little bit. You could cut it if you wanted to. Sometimes it happens to me, sometimes it doesn't. Now I have to clean my glasses out. I mean my glasses, get the glue off of this. So I'll put the other one on, and what's going to be handy is because we're going to put the panels on, the red panels on yet next. And then we don't have these things flopping around so we can break them. So now this is what it looks like. So the front, as you can see, will be the easiest, will be the front. That's why I said choose the front or back, but it's mostly because of this. So now we're going to take the panels. So before we use the panels, we have these are identical. I'm going to use a bone folder to curl these a little bit. Like that. You can see how it curls right there. So before you go any further, we want to determine which of these panels are slightly different shapes. So this veers off to the left a little bit, and so does this, less to the left. Actually, this one right here. Had them make sure that I had the correct ones. So you see there's a little bit more of an angle. So when I go here, it's left of that middle. So that's what I mean by left. It'll fit right here. So before you do it, determine those pieces, and I just put left 1, L1 on both of those, and then so I know it's the left of the middle, and then L2 on the ones here. So you see here too, it's slight. It goes to the left a little bit. So this one slightly goes to the right. that slightly goes to the left. So, right, so for these I'd put, so you can always verify before, so start at this line, and go up like that. It'll fit there. So I'm going to flip it over and say right one, so R1. R1. And then R2. So just dry fit them and do this, and then it'll make your life easier after this. So to put these on, we want to, I embossed them with, I'm trying to find the embossing folder I used. Let's see. I used a Jerez. I believe it's swirls. I didn't put a thing on this. I have to put I usually have like a little thing on here. I'll look up the name, see if I can find it. So I think it's swirls. So I use that to emboss this. So we're just going to curl it. Just like that. And then we're going to line it up right here in that fold. So that's going to start at that score line right there. Oops, this score line. Like that. So we want to go ahead and just curl them all. Make sure for the R2s and L2s that you have it's bowing out on the top a little bit. That's the correct way to have it. So you want to double check that before you put it on. So just using my bone folder to curl it a little bit. And you could actually just use your hands too. And the embossing folder just gives it some interest. So we're going to do the R1 right here. I'm going to start and line this edge up here with this fold, with the score. And you don't want to do in the middle, you want to start to the left of middle. That's why it's L1. And you'll see that the angle up here lines up. This is why it's handy not to put the bottom, because we can get our fingers in to apply pressure. And then for the L2, so I'm just double checking. And I put the letters, then the label at the top of it, so I knew it was the top. So it just progressively gets bigger. We know that's the top then. We're going to line that up at the fold line there. And line it up in that section. So the same thing for the right. I need to get the one that's angled. I moved them around, so left 2. So there's R1. And again, you'll know by placing it here and seeing if it follows that right there. Oops, right here. Right there. We're going to put that middle one in a minute. I just wanted to do these first. A little bit of repetitive. Line it up at the bottom where it lines up with the fold. Get that glue off my fingertip. Then just apply pressure inside. It is easier than what, once you get into the theme is the actual, what do you call it? Rhythm. When you emboss sometimes you can't tell what they are. So there we go, R2. I can see them when they're flat. It's just after I curled them I couldn't really see it. So then we'll do the middle one, and then I'll just put all the rest of them on off camera. but I'll give you at least 4 of these, and let's put that front one on. So reaching in is imperative for this. So we're going to go ahead and put the front one on. And you can see how it goes. And if you want to do part of it at a time, you can. But if we put glue on all of it, put the rest of those aside. Just getting to the edge here. It's curled probably just a little bit more than it needs to be. So this one, we're going to line it up, oops, at those edges again, start. But we also have to line it up right here. So right there. Right there. Got my hands. So you can start lining it up there. Or at the legs. So I'm just going to start. I just lined it up and then I'm just maneuvering it. So you just want to get it in place. And then once you get it in place, you can apply pressure like this. And we want to maintain, it kind of maintains that curve, the curve look. This one kind of went up a little bit, so I'm going to add a little glue in there. We want that to match a little better. So that's how you put that on. So we're going to continue around. I'll finish those and then we'll go on to the next step. So now that we've got all these panels on, you'll notice one's slightly higher. I didn't line it up properly down here at this score, so it's just slightly higher, but not bad. It should be covered by the black portions. So with that, let's go ahead and put the black part on. So we're just going to go like that. We're going to fold them both like this. So make sure you score them well if you are using something like a Cricut score wheel or score tool. So this is the front. So we want to center it first. So we're just going to go ahead. I'm going to add glue on this so I don't drop it. So we're just going to center this like that and line it up at the top. You can go up a little higher than the top, but we need to make sure that it's going to fold around there. Try to get those folds in the correct place. You can see that's what it looks like on the inside, on the edge. So we can go ahead and add glue on the remainder. Like that. Just going to fold it around. Like that. And you could put glue on this too. So just showing you a different way. You could put glue on that. I'm just kind of pulling it tight as I go around. And then we'll do the same for the back. You just reach in, make sure there's no glue on the outside, on your fingers on the outside. Get those edges down. So go ahead and add this one. Just concentrating on getting it in the right place, and then we can glue the rest of it down. So now that we have this on, I'm going to pick which side I like the best. And I know that this is the back just because of the numbers down here. But I'm going to pick which one I like the best, and I'll make that the front. It's that one. But so I'll know that's where I started, and you can tell by the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it doesn't matter right this moment. We're going to add these. And the reason we're going to put these on first before this is we're going to put this around like this. So if I show you, it's going to go around. We're going to fold this. When you, by the way, if you emboss something first like this, it does kind of make it wonky. I don't want this to come down too far under here and hinder me putting these on, so this is the right time to do it. So let's just go ahead and add glue to right here. And this is the reason why we created that inside piece, border piece, is to make it easier for us to glue this piece on. And so that we maintain the shape of the legs. I'm gonna line those up. This is the front. You see how it's a little bit depressed right there? There's a gap there. It was just making it a little bit harder, but I'm just lining it up first, and then I'll get some pressure behind it. So I'm reaching in to apply pressure on the inside at the same time. Once I get it in place, I'm going to flip it down, and then I'm going to use a bone folder there to apply pressure on the tabs or that little border I had already installed. You could always use a wooden chopstick too, or something like that, a blunt tool. You don't want to poke through anything. Bone is non-destructive, so, and I could use a pointy part to get into the edges there. It looks pretty close. So I'll add that second one in the same manner. So now the bottoms are on. Just make sure you go through and take the time to apply pressure to them appropriately. And then we do have a panel that will go on the inside. If you don't like, I didn't put panels to hide everything, but if you want to hide these little tabs in the middle, we have little panels that you can add. I'm not going to glue them in, but if you're bothered by it, that's what these little things are for. They kind of like look like butterflies like that. So they'll be slightly smaller than the space. And then now let's go ahead and put the white part on. So if you do emboss them, which I did emboss with a Cuttlebug folder, which is no longer available, but Tiny Bubbles. I think on the very first one I used glitter cardstock. You want to fold it carefully. Sometimes when you emboss it first, well, you cut it out and then you emboss it after you cut it out, it can make it more, it can compromise the folds. So just be aware of that. So this is the front. And I may have forgotten which one's the front, but I'm just going to pick this as the front. And we're going to go just right in the middle. So take either the 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth one in. Let's go like this. Let's go, how about 1, 2, 3. We'll take the third one. Third section. And we're going to add glue right here. Get it in place. You could go the fourth one in too. It's just getting it centered. I know you can't see that, but I'm lining this edge up, but you can't see it because of the embossing. I'll show you a sample. It's a different color without the embossing, so let me get that. So without embossing, it's like this. So we're just centering it on that and then wrapping it around. So just be aware that different thicknesses of paper are going to wrap around differently. And also the factors is if you did it too far apart, you have big gaps that could not go around correctly. It's always a possibility. So I'm just going to add glue to this last one here. The inside. Only do that bottom, add glue on that bottom section. And then we'll continue to wrap this around. So the thinner paper is going to go around a thicker paper a little bit better, but if a thicker cardstock's used as this panel, it will be harder to go around. It's just different thicknesses will cause different challenges. It's already drying. Okay, let's just go start where you started, where the first one is from the one that's last glued. Glue off my fingers. And then just keep on wrapping it around. I'm kind of pulling it tight as I go. Fortunately, embossing, it looks like I got close enough so I don't have too many gaps. So that's good. I tried probably 4 different sizes of this before I settled on this size to try to work for every kind of cardstock, but the variable is how if you have gaps here. So that'll be a problem if you have gaps. So we'll do the other one. So I'm on the back right here. So we can do it the same. I forget where I put the edge on that one. 1, 2, 3. Just might want to keep it consistent. I'm just putting the seam in the same place underneath. So the trick is getting this first one placed. And then you can kind of see it going around. And then I'm lining this bottom edge up. So I'll finish putting that around, because I already showed you that. And then we will finish it up with the suspenders and the buttons on the suspenders and the buckle. Oh God. So be careful when you're going around the corners. I'm trying to show you a kind of started a tear of it. If you're using embossed cardstock like that, that can happen. So we have that. So now the suspenders. So the decision for suspenders is I have like buttons I'm going to use. But as far as you can use the buttons, I have cutout buttons like this. If you do use them, what you want to do is go ahead and add them to this first. And it'll be on either edge. You can do just a little bit above like that on either side of this. Just glue them on. And then, but if you want to do real buttons like this, we'll put them on after we put it on. But let's go ahead and, so that's what you do if you're going to use the real buttons. Then you want to curl it to get it ready for putting it on. That'll help. And then we want to put this on. So this is how you're going to put it on. We want it to look like the belt is going through, the black piece is going through like a belt. But we wanted to make it simple, so it's just this. Put this on. So I have these really thin foam tape. I usually use them for, I bought them actually for doing shadow boxes if I ever make them. And or for shaker cards. So they're great sizes because you can combine them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. I have a pair of scissors that I use just for sticky things. I'm going to put it at the top of this. So I tried a different foam tape and it was just too, it was too thick. So I want to get right to the edge because I want to have this go a little bit before, a little bit on top, so you can see on the back. See if this works. There it goes. So I'm just going to line it up, and then on the bottom I can have it bigger. So this is for the top of it. And then for the two sides, see how long they can be. You really could use any foam tape, but the more you, these are great because I don't have to cut and get a bunch of gooey stuff. I use only this pair of scissors for, I'm going to put these extras here. And on my web page, usually I tell you what I used. So this is for adhesives only. Let's go ahead and take this off. Okay, the only thing I need to pay attention to is making sure, first of all, which side is the front. Make sure that's the front. And then this top piece where it's really close, right here, I'm going to put up here. So Now line it up, because I don't want that foam tape to go on top. Like I don't want to be able to see it on the back. So it's almost, I had it jutting a little bit. There we go. What you're seeing is previous foam tape. That's not exactly where I wanted it. There we go. I center it better. So you want to try to not go as high as there so you can see it a little bit, just because I messed up. But you could add glue too. I just wanted it popped up a little bit. You don't need to do the foam tape thing. Just as long as you add glue only where you're going to glue it on here. If you add glue on this, you're going to be able to see it on the back of this. So you want to add like a little bead of glue there, and then of course on the side you could add on there. So now we're going to do suspenders. So the suspenders, they're going to go to the, so you want to go to the right and left of these areas. So I don't have the, remember you can go ahead and put these on before or after if you're going to use the paper buttons. And I'm going to go ahead and use real buttons. So I'm just going to eyeball it on the front, and we're going to do the same on the side. So I'm going to put it the same angle. Probably about, if you're a measure, let's just say about, let's see, like 0.75 inches. Let's see, or whatever the equivalent is in metric. I'm just going to glue this bottom part here. You can line it up right there. Trying to make sure I don't get glue on my fingertips. And then on the back, add glue on the other side. I'll put it flat so the camera doesn't complain. So a little bit to the left. I purposely did not put any marks down here to help you as cheater marks, because some people might want to do it differently. So you could also put holes all the way through all the layers and put a brad, or a brad that looks like a button. There's button brads out there. So this is why we want to curl it first. And so we're going to do the same. I'm just going to use that as a guide. Put it on the left. And you see I kind of have it lined up, same distance from this little fold here. We're almost done. These are just the little details. And then we'll add a little glue to this. And you can always add a little glue up here if you are afraid you didn't get the glue high enough. Be careful. It's easier to be careful on this piece than it is the other. I just keep the same distance, even though it's a little bit less distance than the front. And as it's wet, just kind of, it's kind of a fun box, I think. I mean, obviously I made it. There we go. And then the last thing we're going to add is either you can use the, you may have already put them on there, but you could use the cardstock buttons that are with it. Or we're going to go ahead and use these buttons I found in my collection. So these were something I had. I'm just going to use this glue dots. I have them on a roll, so I'm just going to use the ones I have on a roll. Let's just add a little glue dot to the back. And I'm going to pop it on. I might need two. Let me do two. Oops. You're going to see that this one, you can see the glue dot through it, but it's kind of what I want to do, so. So let's start this again here. I'm just putting two glue dots on. Then I'll add it here. Push it down. Sometimes it's just a matter of figuring out what's going to work. So to me, the two glue dots work. Yes, they have these on a, they have things, if you want it's easier to put on the ones that are like this, but I have a lot of these, so I'm just using that. I don't just do tutorials I don't do tutorials to sell anything. I mean, if you like what I use, I try to tell you what I use, but I only use what I like. So I'm not a sponsor. So I'm going to put the other two on. So you don't have to watch me and do all this menial work. But here's what it looks like in the front. So you could always put it up like that too. I put it more up and down vertical. Making sure it's in the same spot. It is. And let me put the other two and we're finished. Here it is. Here's a finished Santa pants, and I do like the dimension of the real buttons, but again, you can use the ones that are included with the file. So I hope you enjoy this project, and I thank you so much for watching.